Hello, everybody. My name is Stefan Chapman, and I am the Vice President at Euro Petroleum Consultants. We are an independent consultancy active in the oil, gas, and petrochemical sectors. We are also the organizers of the upcoming event called the Energy and Sustainability Forum for the MENA region, otherwise known as ESF MENA 2021. So this new regional conference follows the success of our inaugural international ESF edition, which was held in a virtual format earlier this year. By focusing on decarbonization and sustainability in the downstream industry, ESF MENA will support the collaborations, the discussions, and the development of a sustainable energy future in which the Middle East downstream industry will continue to play a leading role. So today I am honored to have with me Jay Ibrahim. Jay is the President of Sustainable Technology Solutions at KBR. KBR are fully committed to help and provide and shape sustainable and efficient solutions for their clients globally. We are delighted to be able to catch up with him today ahead of the conference to discuss some of the key topics facing our industry in its journey to a more sustainable future. So Jay, a warm welcome to you, and thank you for taking the time to come and talk with us today.
Thank you, Stefan. It's a pleasure, and look forward to having a good session.
Thank you very much, Jay. If I may, I'd like to dive into our first discussion point, our first question. So over the last few months, we've witnessed many of the Middle East producers begin their pivot to sustainability, including some exciting project announcements. How well positioned do you feel is the region to adapt, and what do you believe are the main opportunities for the region in reducing its carbon emissions?
All right, that's a very good question. And I would say that really they haven't recently pivoted. I mean, this has been probably in play for years and years. So if we take a look at the visions that were set in, whether it's in the UAE, whether it's in Saudi, whether it's in Qatar, and the remaining GCC countries, it's been there for a long time. You know, I would say, for example, the Masdar initiative, which was really the first urban community of its kind, you know, when it comes to zero carbon or low carbon, you know, goes back till 2008. And even the NEOM vision started way before then, and it's been expedited, you know, the last 4 years or so. So I would say the visionaries in these countries have started sustainability and looking at alternatives a long time back. And the same is really with the major producers and manufacturers, you know, in the region. If you take a look, for example, at ADNOC and at Aramco and at SABIC, you know, I've been having sustainability and energy transition discussion with them for years. Was always about looking into the future and really how could you reduce carbon. And I recall at the last GPCA that I attended about 3 years back, I had the discussion with SABIC at the time, and really one of their major initiatives was really, you know, taking a look at their olefins, and we all know that, you know, furnaces in olefins probably is, you know, a piece of equipment that emit, you know, the most carbon. And even at that time, they were looking at ways and means how really, you know, you can change the way furnaces work in terms of either electrifying in order basically to utilize a renewable source of energy versus fuel gas and others. So I would say that the Middle East producers, the Middle East NOCs are well positioned, and I believe they are leaders when it comes to sustainability initiatives, and taken into consideration the localization, right? You need definitely to continue to create wealth in the countries that you operate. You want to continue to create jobs. And really, the sustainability goes a long way in kind of securing these jobs. And yet, achieve what needed to be done in order to reduce the carbon emission and go greener.
Thank you very much. It's good to hear that it was these plans were always on their radar. It was always in their plans. So it's great to hear on that point. If I could follow up a little bit more on that theme, we all know that the region is big hydrocarbon producers. Looking ahead, how can the GCC find a complementary role for liquid fuels and build their options for the future with the assets they already have in place?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking here about energy transition, right, and sustainability, and really it's about transition. So there is really no magic fuel out there that is available that is going to replace today or tomorrow or next year or the year after what we have, whether it's gas or whether it's liquid fuel. And, if you take a look at the forecast for oil production and oil consumptions, it varies between the various views and the various analysts, but we're still looking somewhere between 80 million to 110, 120 million barrels per day over the next little while. However, I think the new bit to it is really about decarbonization. It's really about how we put the data to good use in order to emit lesser carbon into the atmosphere. Yeah. So really, I would say we're going to be going blue before we go green. And with that, the liquid fuels is going to be with us for a while to come because it is required. However, it's going to be better, it's going to be greener, it's going to be more sustainable. And from a cost point of view, you would really need this because, again, going from what we call engine one today, which is, let's call it being black when it comes to oil or refinery, you're going to go into blue, which is basically remove the carbon to a large degree out of it before we see the green. And with that, you need a financial arm basically to kind of finance the engine two, which is going to be more about the greener fuel going forward or the fuel of the future. So I would say the liquid fuels are going to continue to play a major role, and they're going to be the financing arm to kind of get us where we need to get to in the next 25, 30 years.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think liquid fuels will remain an important and integral part of the future energy mix. And I think, like you said, I think it will be the way that we better manage the hydrocarbon molecule to be in a more efficient manner. So looking ahead, technologies will undoubtedly play a key role in meeting these future goals. As a major technology licensor, what do you see as the key enabling technologies, and how are KBR technologies helping producers to build their future options with their assets?
Yeah, I mean, we've got over 80 technologies in KBR. And even, before COVID-19 and even before the much stronger push in terms of sustainability and in terms of taking a look at the greenhouse gas emission, we believe that the KBR technology have already made significant steps in there. So we truly believe that our technologies, whether it is in olefins, whether it is in syngas and ammonia, whether it is in refining, we're already a leg up in terms of emitting lesser carbon to atmosphere. And, this is basically in our DNA, how we approach technology. We continue to do so. And in particular, KBR is a leader when it comes to ammonia. We've got over 50% of the world capacity. And now we're going more and more into what we call the blue ammonia, which is, again, removing carbon. And then really looking at progressing the greener ammonia, and we've got flow sheets already developed for that. Again, using nitrogen from air and hydrogen from water to kind of get us to where we need to get to. Now, in terms of the electrolysis that are still into the smaller scale, and this is something that will develop over the next couple of years in order to give us the commercial scale. And I would say probably one of the newer technology that KBR is playing in, it's the plastic recycling technology. This is really all about circular economy. And we believe that this technology, where we partner with Miura out of the UK, is going to be a game changer going forward. And really what it does, it kind of break down the plastic into naphtha, and this is really where they originated from. And I'll be glad to talk about this in details in future sessions.
Looking forward to it. I think undoubtedly it's interesting times for technology providers. I mean, these challenges, these are really interesting times, this evolution, this transition, I think it's going to drive forward innovation. So I think it's a great time to be part of technology providers and providing solutions. If I could mention our recent inaugural ESF event. At the event, the importance of collaboration was mentioned numerous times and repeatedly so. So with this in mind, how do you think the Middle East producers can support the development and scale up of low carbon technologies through customer-supplier collaboration?
Yeah, and I believe that having the recent conferences just before COVID, I think we've seen, again, the major players in the Gulf countries come more together, such as, the GPCA. This is a great forum to kind of bring in the leadership from the various companies into it to talk about this. And, the Middle East is very rich in terms of natural resources, and they have the financial capabilities to kind of lead the way in terms of energy transition and in terms of collaboration to kind of get us into a place where we need to be to kind of make sure that we protect Mother Earth. So, and the visionaries in these countries definitely are aligned when it comes to that. And I would say that we're going to see more and more of that going forward. And the Middle East will be a leader in terms of sustainable future for the community, for the people, as well as for the businesses.
Thank you. If I could take a moment to go to an important topic that you briefly touched upon previously, which is circular economy. We've seen a number of companies recently adopt high-yield circular economy strategies. What do you believe are the tangible next steps needed for large-scale implementation? So that means what needs to happen, and do you feel that the region, the Middle East region, is on track?
Yes, we definitely need to do more. So this is an area that we just started. There are pockets and hotspots here and there, but really probably we need more collaboration and more working together to kind of get us where we need to get to. So, there are several waste to energy type of project. Now we're seeing a bit more about, plastic to energy type of project. However, we're still recycling, I would say, less than 10% of the total waste. So again, this is going to be from coaching, from mentoring, from educating the population in the Gulf countries in order really to kind of push the circular economy to where we need to get to.
Yeah, I think this can be applied globally. I think in all regions, education will play a key part. on this journey, circular economy journey. We've come to the final question today, and it's one that I've asked all our previous guests. So, peering into the crystal ball, in a time characterized by all the uncertainty that we've seen and the changes, what do you think the 2030 end user, be that refiner or petchem producer in the Gulf, will look like? And what are the big ticket items do we expect the industry to invest in the coming decade? Big question.
Yeah, it is, and I'll have to look into my crystal ball for that. You're absolutely right. I mean, I think every client now is looking at the refinery of the future, and it's going to engage quite a bit of what's out there already. And how do you take these initiatives and put them together to kind of get us where we need to get to? So you hear quite a bit about data is the new oil, right? And how you put the data to good use. And we're seeing that across every industry, not really just the oil and gas or the petrochemical or the refinery industry, is really how you leverage data to kind of help you reduce CapEx, definitely reduce OpEx, and with that come in basically the reduction in carbon and carbon footprint. So we're seeing that the operation and maintenance of these plants and these assets has shifted from just doing routine type of maintenance and operation over the last few years to do more in terms of preventive. But now what we're seeing is really more predictive. And we're seeing that the asset, instead of being shut down, once every 2 years or 3 years for maintenance, they're gonna basically be shut down maybe after 5 or 6 or 7 years. And with that really come in the reduction in carbon footprint, because when you shut down a plant, you're going to depressure your vessel, you're going to pressure your compressor, and with that basically you send gas and liquids and condensate into flaring, and that definitely is a huge source of emission of carbons to the atmosphere. So by using the machine learning, by using the artificial intelligence, by using the remote-based monitoring, so we're seeing that the shutdown of these assets and these refineries, for example, is much, much less. And hence, really, that is helping. And KBR really play a huge role in that. And we're seeing also more integration and more flexibility. So could you design your refinery in such a way, again, to reduce your carbon footprint, but also give you the flexibility to change your product slate as well? And we're looking basically at more integration with petrochemical. And this is really when Saudi started the crude oil to chemical years back. And this is basically, again, taking, liquid naphtha, for example, or taking a refinery in front of a petrochemical complex. And then instead of producing, gasoline and diesel, basically you're using that as a feedstock into your petrochemical. And hence you are producing basically better product to utilize. So I would say you're going to see probably some of the smaller refinery and medium refinery probably go out of business or being bought by larger companies. But you're going to see more and more carbon capture. You're going to see more and more using digitalization to good use to kind of get us where we need to get to.
Thank you very much. So great thanks to you, Jay, for spending the time with us today. It was a real pleasure for me to be able to talk with you today. We look forward to being able to continue the discussion on these key topics at ESF MENA later on in the year. Until then, once again, a big thank you, and please stay safe and stay well.